Yeah, man, this one's a tough one to take. This was such a heavy blow to finish out the game in the way that we did. Manchester City won, Chelsea won, and I just don't understand. Very confusing, very frustrating. Just exactly what we didn't need, right? And it was a match that we should have sealed early on. Definitely in the first half. We had a lot of chances in the second half, but to finish the game in that way, to concede that late goal through Enzo Fernandez is just such a heavy blow. It is because now it just feels, I don't want to say impossible because again, like City have been here before, right? City have been in worse off positions when, chasing a title. We've seen it a lot in the City Pool rivalry, right? Like we have been in worse situations and we've overcome it. But I don't know, something about it just seems different this time out. Arsenal just seem very inevitable and like they're unstoppable. They have so much like charisma and luck, but in order to have the luck, you have to have the skill and the confidence and everything. So fair play to them and everything. But yeah, look, Chelsea, I don't know. We let them into this match. We let them into the second half to come away with a point very late on, and it's just unfair. Uh, there were some lackluster performances from City. Foden didn't really have the best of games. He was kind of struggling a bit to, I guess, in like the final ball. The final ball is where he struggled a bit. Cherky as well was kind of quiet. Didn't really get much into the game either. His final and end product was also not there. Erling Haaland, very unfortunate, hitting the post in that first half. He was kept quiet again. And yeah, it was just tough. There was also a moment in the second half where Phil Foden opted into to slide Erling Haaland for a chance in when he should have slotted Ryan Cherky in, who would have been completely free in the back post for a one-on-one to seal the game 2-0. And he didn't. He chose to go for Erling Haaland, who didn't even get a chance on the ball that Phil Foden played in and everything. So yeah, it sucks. It sucks because this is the second game in a row now where we're dropping points and we're tying 1-1 when we should have won. I could give some leeway to Sunderland and everything, but with everything that's been happening regarding Chelsea over the past 72 hours, with them letting go of Enzo Maresca, them coming in and calling up their under 21 coach, I forget what his name is, and everything. And yeah, Chelsea completely disgraceful in that first half. I thought Chelsea started out the first maybe like 10 to 15 minutes pretty strong and aggressively. They were definitely giving City a hard time, kind of like feeling comfortable on the ball. And then after 10 or 15 minutes or so, they just completely died out and fizzled out, and they played with such a low block. They had nothing going forward. They could barely hold on to the ball. They made it really tough for City to kind of like break them down and create any clear-cut chances. The only one was really Erling Haaland shot up on the post and then Tijani Reinders' goal and everything. But like, I don't want to be too negative and stuff, but I'd just be lying if I said this wasn't like a disappointing and frustrating result and performance as well, because the performance was also kind of in my opinion. Again, like just us not really creating much, not being able to kind of break everything down. But then again, on the other hand, to kind of what's the word? Benefit of the doubt, to kind of give City the benefit of the doubt. We didn't really have much of a squad. We've kind of been spread thin this season so far. We've been kind of like unfortunate with injuries and everything. Like if you looked at our bench today, we had a lot of youth and academy players on the bench. Our senior players on the bench were Nathan Ake, Jeremy Doku, who else? Kusanov, and Kusanov isn't even all that experienced either, and stuff like. And then also both of our center backs had to be substituted off with injuries in the second half as well. So yeah, we didn't really have much to offer to come off of the bench and kind of like bring more life to the game and give us more of a chance going forward. Jeremy Doku did come on and he did look very lively. He definitely lit things up a bit, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough because, like I said, the performances of the players that started the match and ended up finishing the match were also kind of lackluster. But on the bright side as well, getting Rodri back to playing a full 90 minutes, which I sure wouldn't have been part of the plan if we didn't have to sub off both of our center backs and stuff. But still, it's good to see him back. He was looking pretty good. Very good tempo control and press resistance and stuff like that, like picking out some good passes as well going forward. That's something that we have been missing a lot since his absence and everything. So it's good. And again, it's not a loss or anything. We have been in worse positions in the league before. It just stinks because of the fact that Arsenal hold so much like confidence right now, and they just look unbeatable and inevitable, right? And they're now 6 points clear at the top and everything. So I don't know. We'll take it on the chin and everything, and I know that we can bounce back. I know that we definitely have it in us to, really push and contend till the very end. Like it's the middle of the season now. We are officially at the halfway point. That was Man City's 19th match, or what, 20th? So yeah, we're at the halfway point. There's still loads of football to be played. I don't think that it's signs for concern yet, and I think it's going to be a while before there is, time to like really be concerned and kind of like throw in the towel. But you never know what can happen in the second half of the season. Arsenal are definitely going to drop points eventually, right? Aston Villa will also drop points and fall back on the title race, and it's going to be a two-legged race again, and everything. And you never know what could happen. But yeah, we're on a great run right now, undefeated in 11, I believe. Yeah. So we've got 8 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss in our last 11 matches. So that's not bad, right? And we're on an undefeated run, like I said. It's just very unfortunate the way that we actually let up that goal. Chelsea, on the other hand, like I said, that first half was very, very disgraceful. They definitely came into it in the second half a bit, but I still don't think it was enough for them to actually go on and really like take anything from the match to begin with. They did get very fortunate, but they created, they brought themselves into the match. City let them get into the match and everything. But it's interesting to see kind of like the bounce back given everything that's happened over the past 72 hours. Enzo Maresca getting let go, and it's kind of like peculiar. I do kind of want to touch on that as well. I don't just want to like necessarily react on the match or anything. Chelsea letting go of Enzo Maresca, and things definitely took like a left turn in the middle of December after Maresca's press conference saying that he didn't feel support from the club over at the time the past 48 hours and everything. And then from then on, the writings were on the wall, basically. Like, we all saw where this was going to go. I guess I just didn't really expect it to happen as quickly as it did, or at this stage in the season. I thought it'd be at least till the end of the season or something, given the fact that Chelsea are still 100% in a top 4 contention. They can definitely still qualify for Europe, and I know that that was ultimately the goal for the season. I don't think that they were necessarily too concerned with competing for the title or anything. I think their main priority was making sure they qualify for Europe next season and stuff. So I felt like that was well within reach, and I thought that they would at least give Enzo Maresca till the end of the season before saying like, hey, look, this isn't really working out, man, and everything. But they didn't, and that's football. You know what I mean? That's Chelsea, actually, I should say. And I did make a video touching on this on TikTok and everything. The way that Chelsea are run is so peculiar and fascinating to me because of the fact that, like, they have always, in the time that I have been watching football, so 16 years, they have always been the team that has never had, like, a long-term project in play. They've never had something where they're setting up and planning for the next what, 5 to 8 years, 8 to 10 years in order for like sustainability and long-term success, right? The way that you've seen Manchester City, Liverpool, who else? I can't even, but I think City and Liverpool are probably the best two examples in the Premier League, at least, where there's a plan. PSG as well, had that their project when they signed Ibrahimovic and Cavani and stuff, and like that's not something that kind of like happened overnight. Them winning the treble last season, that was like a 10-year project coming to an end, and them reaping the benefits of all that investment and planning, towards that project and everything. And same with City. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't become a treble winning team in the span of 1 to 2 years and stuff like that. Like that, from the moment, the financial takeover in 2008 all the way to 2023 when City won the treble. Like that was the goal. And that, not necessarily that time span. I'm sure they would have wanted, all the success a little bit sooner, but it was the project for the long term, and from top to bottom. It's not just on the footballing side of things, like infrastructure, like everything. Chelsea have never really been that club for as long as I've been watching them. They have always been a team for success in the now, right? Wanting success in the next 1 to 3 years, right? And what's interesting about the way that they do this, right? Because they're like business and footballing model. It's fascinating because it's always worked. It has always worked for them, especially under Roman Abramovich's ownership. Like, they were always winning titles since I've been watching football. They've won a title every year or every other year. They've won 3 Premier Leagues, 2 Champions Leagues, 2 Europa Leagues, 3 FA Cups, a Carabao Cup, what else? A Club World Cup, well, 2 technically, but under Roman Abramovich, 1 World Cup, FIFA Club World Cup, in the old model and stuff like that. They won a Super Cup. Like, they have won trophies, so like a lot, but at the same time, they've been through 10 plus managers. Under Roman Abramovich's era, since I've been watching football, they've been through 10 plus managers. I have never seen a Chelsea manager have a 3rd season at Chelsea. The longest term that I have seen a Chelsea manager stay as a Chelsea manager is for 2 years. That is crazy. But what's even more crazy is that it's been working for them. So can we really critique it in the sense if it's working? I don't know. I personally don't think that a club should be ran like that. I really don't, because I don't think that it creates any sustainability whatsoever, like at all. So yeah, look, I think back to the whole game and everything, Chelsea still have a chance at qualifying for Europe. I don't necessarily think that they have any chance at being in a title race anymore. They've definitely, after they drew against Arsenal, I think like that conversation was very valid. And then since then, they haven't won the games that you would consider like that they would need to have won in order to legitimately consider them title challengers. They just haven't. Drawing to Bournemouth, losing to Leeds. Who else? West Ham. Like they're not winning the matches. Like they're good in the big games, but it's the smaller games that really count, because those are the ones that really add up. Those really make or break your season if you're going to be a title contender, truly. And they haven't passed that test at all. So, and then with Enzo Maresca being out and whoever the next manager is going to be, it's looking like it's going to be the Strasbourg manager, Liam, what's his name, Rosenberg or something like that. But his first name's Liam, whatever. The Strasbourg manager, it seems like he's going to be the front runner for the Chelsea manager position. And I don't know. I think whoever you put in there, Chelsea are still going to have the problem that they've been having with Enzo Maresca, because the way that they're ran, they don't want a manager that's going to have their own autonomy and demand more for the club. And I think they want a yes man. They want someone who's going to do as they're told and get with the program. And if not, you're out. You know what I mean? Uh, so yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I think it was a very disappointing result. I'm definitely very gutted. I feel like not all hope is lost, but it's hard to kind of like not have those thoughts creep in. And I think a great example of, if you watch the game, or I don't even know if there's images of it on Twitter or social media yet, but like after the final whistle blew, like the camera pans to Bernardo Silva's face, and he just looks completely defeated, and like he feels like, all right, yeah, that's it. Like Arsenal won the title already. Like that was kind of like the expression on his face. Like it was kind of like hopeless, and like that was their only chance. And if they lost, then they might as well just kiss the title goodbye. And I feel like that emotion and sentiment can be kind of like shared amongst the entire team and the fan base, because it does kind of like feel that way, even though there's still hell of a lot of football to be played. So yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get too down on it. Obviously, it's going to sting and it's disappointing, but there's still so much football to be played. We still didn't lose, right? We're still on this undefeated run. And again, City have been here before. They have been in worse positions before, and they have pulled off insane runs of form when challenging for titles, and I'm talking like 13 games unbeaten, 13 games winning straight consecutively, right? In order to kind of keep up in the title race. And then once we get to like late March and through April, that's when the grind really starts, right? Like that's when things really start to shake up, and we'll see where we are then, right? But for now, tough loss, or it's a draw that kind of feels like a loss, but there's still a lot to play for. So I don't want us to get our heads too down. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'll speak to you guys on the next one. Take it easy.